Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and welcome to my HuoHuo guide and review. By the end of it, you're going to know how good she is and everything there is to know on how to play and build her. We'll be covering her power and if you should pull for her, kit and gameplay, best builds, and team synergies. HuoHuo is a wind abundance character that also has access to a ton of team boosts, making her more of a hybrid of abundance and harmony. She rivals characters like GOODLUCK in healing output and also provides enough buffs to absolutely make an impact on your damage output as well. The abundance portion of her kit allows her to easily solo sustain a team even in the hardest content. And of course, no abundance is complete without a cleanse, and HuoHuo has multiple of them. So many in fact she is hands down the best cleanser in the game at the time of her release. The harmony part of her kit is tied to her ultimate, which grants a large attack percent boost to the entire team for 2 turns, but more importantly also restores her allies' energy when used. But to understand her power and if you should pull her, let's cover her main strengths and weaknesses in detail. As for strengths, HuoHuo has excellent burst and continuous heals, with a skill that actually heals more than most healers' ultimates, on top of having a pseudo GOODLUCK healing field from her talent. And of course she also has her team-wide attack boost from her ultimate that is actually close to the power level of most Harmony characters' attack boosts as well. Her energy recharge is also no joke and is equal to 20% of her teammates' total energy, which for most characters is 20 to 30 energy, making it about as strong as half of a Tingyun ultimate but for 3 characters instead of 1. Her cleanses are absolutely absurd though. She has an on-demand single target one from her skill, but also an additional 6 more she gains after using her skill from her talent, granting her a total of 7 cleanses per skill use that affect the entire team. To round things out, she also has incredible 4-star Lightcone options for team support, energy recharge, and increased healing throughput, so her signature is absolutely not mandatory. As for weaknesses, HuoHuo has no healing outside of using her skill, which triggers her talent, meaning she has no option to play fully skill point positive like other healers, with her best rotation having skill point generation similar to Fushuan. And of course, as we know by now, she doesn't have a healing ultimate, meaning she doesn't have the ability of some other abundance characters to take the entire team from low health to max health at a moment's notice, which means she will take a little bit longer to heal everyone back up. Also, depending on team composition, the first turn of HuoHuo's teams can be a little bit challenging to navigate in terms of skill points if you want her ultimate quickly. And finally, when using her skill point positive rotation, she has some healing downtime, which your team can be vulnerable during. But you can use extra skill points if needed to keep the team alive. So with HuoHuo's main strengths and weaknesses covered, is she worth it and should you pull for her? Well, she is certainly a step up in sustain compared to Bailu, Japad, Lynx, and Natasha in raw numbers and utility alone. And when you add in her offensive capabilities, she is certainly a reasonable option if you're looking to upgrade out of one of these characters. But similar to Fushuan, she sacrifices her skill point generation for buffs and higher healing. So you need to be sure your teams are in a position to make use of that to unlock her full potential. And finally, when compared to the other 2 limited sustaining characters, Fushuan and GOODLUCK, she is a lot closer in power to them. And if you already have both of them, you'll need to look at her strengths and weaknesses to decide if HuoHuo is worth investing into for the teams you're looking to play. With that covered, let's dive into how to push HuoHuo's kit and gear to the limit. HuoHuo's kit is simple, but making it work smoothly is harder than it might seem, especially when it comes to what rotation to use to access her ultimate fast without burning too many skill points. HuoHuo's ultimate is at the heart of her kit and regenerates up to 20% energy for all her allies on use, and grants them a 40% attack percent boost for 2 turns. Now, in order to maximize HuoHuo's performance, you want as many ultimates as possible, with as high uptime on the attack percent buff as you can. But it has a 140 energy cost, which makes things very difficult. In order to hit that energy cost in a reasonable amount of actions, like 3 to 4, without spamming her skill and going super skill point negative, we'll really need to dig into her kit. HuoHuo's skill is a blast heal that cleanses 1 debuff from the main target while healing adjacent allies for slightly less, but without the cleanse. This skill heals for an absurd amount, and as mentioned earlier, it's actually more than most abundance healing ultimates. Because of this, you can hold off on using it until allies are around 60% HP or lower, or you need it for rotational purposes to access their ultimate as fast as possible. Doing this will help you with HuoHuo's skill point consumption. HuoHuo's talent is a buff called Sacrificed Life, which lasts 2 turns and can be tracked under her portrait here. While active, Sacrificed Life heals every ally at the start of their turn, or when they use an ultimate for a small amount, similar to how much Bailu's Invigoration heals for. Additionally, any ally that is below 50% HP when the effect is triggered will also be healed, meaning if your entire team is below 50% HP, every time an ally's turn starts or they use an ultimate, the entire team will be healed until they are healthier than 50%. You can think of Sacrifice Life as a bit of a weaker version of Luocha's healing field. Additionally, whenever Sacrifice Life heals an ally, it'll also cleanse 1 debuff on them. This cleanse can be triggered up to 6 times per sacrificed life buff, and refreshing the buff resets the counter. For the most part, you can think of her talent as pretty much giving you debuff immunity. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, thanks to HuoHuo's bonus ability, Stress Reaction to Horror, every time Sacrifice Life heals any ally, it'll also generate her 1 point of energy, which stacks up insanely fast and is essential for accessing her ultimate fast. So keeping her talent active grants team-wide heals, cleanses, and some much needed energy regeneration. HuoHuo's technique is a non-initiation technique that fears all enemies around her for 10 seconds. While feared and after battle starts, they'll receive a 25% attack reduction debuff for 2 turns. This technique is a nice bonus and should always be used in challenging content, as you can swap characters after the enemy is feared, meaning there is no downside. To round out her kit, HuoHuo's final 2 bonus abilities provide some decent bonuses but aren't essential to her gameplay. The first grants her 35% chance to resist crowd control debuffs, and the second grants her 1 charge of Sacrifice Life when the battle starts, which is a nice bonus but nothing crazy, as allies generally don't need to be healed at the very start of combat. Level up HuoHuo's traces in the following order. Level her skill, ultimate, and talent all to level 7 to start with. Then, if you want to invest more in her, I recommend leveling her ultimate to level 10. After that, you can level the skill and talent higher if you need more healing. Whenever a bonus ability is available, unlock it, and prioritize getting the small speed and HP traces behind them. Now it's time to tie her kit together and execute a rotation that maximizes healing and ultimates, but also doesn't burn all your team's skill points. In order to do this, we want to keep Sacrifice Life up as much as possible. Luckily, 100% uptime is easy by alternating between using her skill and basic. This will generate the most potential ultimates and healing, but unfortunately comes at the cost of generating no skill points. And most team compositions right now rely on the sustain to generate some skill points. Playing her this way means compromising most endgame teams, and isn't something I recommend at the time of her release. An alternative to this is to play her skill point positive, which actually maintains similar amounts of healing and ultimate access most of the time. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, let me run you through both rotations so you can see the difference. HuoHuo's ultimate requires 140 energy, and using a skill point neutral rotation of skill, basic alternating, we'll gain 60 from using 2 skills, 40 from using 2 basics, 5 from a refund from her ultimate, and assuming all allies are the same speed or similar to HuoHuo, and at least use 1 ultimate each during her rotation, we can expect a bare minimum of 20 from her talent, giving us a total of 125 energy. With an energy recharge rope equipped, that 125 becomes 149, which is more than we need, meaning we'll safely have a 4 action rotation using the skill point neutral setup. For skill point positive, we'll also be aiming for a 4 action rotation, consisting of skill, basic, skill, basic, which worst case scenario will require us to hit 140 energy by using 3 basics and 1 skill. And because we're using less skills, we'll also have less uptime on Sacrifice Life, meaning less energy. Instead of the usual 20, we can expect a minimum of 16 instead. Using this rotation, we'll be getting 60 energy from 3 basics, 30 energy from 1 skill, 16 energy at a minimum from the talent, and 5 energy from the ultimate, totaling 111, and with an energy rope 132. This means we're a tiny bit short. We can easily make up for this by HuoHuo getting hit, allies taking additional turns or ultimates during sacrifice life, or using energy recharge relics or Lightcones, which we'll cover in the gear section. To conclude, if you're confident you can get the energy you need, I absolutely recommend using the skill point positive rotation, as it offers good heals, decent talent uptime, and a similar ultimate frequency, while easily fitting into most current meta team comps with similar skill point generation to Fushuan. Before we get stuck into relics, let's cover what HuoHuo's best stats are and why. The stats I recommend are HP percentage and healing output, speed, energy recharge, and to a lesser extent, defense percent and effect resistance. HP and healing output percent are direct scalars for HuoHuo's healing, which is her main role. Stack as much of these as possible with an emphasis on healing output, as it's rarer and you'll have less of it, making it better for performance. As we've learned, energy recharge is essential for HuoHuo to gain access to her ultimate in a timely manner. An energy rope is a must-have, but even more energy recharge can be beneficial to smooth out the skill point positive rotation, or grant the possibility for the occasional 3-action rotation depending on your team and the enemy attacks. Speed allows HuoHuo to execute her rotation faster, healing more and generating more ultimates, but comes with a catch. A big chunk of HuoHuo's energy recharge is dependent on the team moving while her sacrifice life is active. If HuoHuo outspeeds the team too much, she might not gain enough energy from her talent to comfortably gain her ultimate in all scenarios in the 4 actions we're used to. This is easily fixed though by stacking more energy recharge or speeding up your team to match HuoHuo's speed. Overall, speed is a top stat for HuoHuo and absolutely recommended, but some fine tuning might be needed. For those looking to optimize, here are some of the more competitive speed breakpoints to aim for in Endgame. HuoHuo will be incredibly tanky thanks to her HP scaling, but if you've got all the speed and HP you can manage, defense percentage is a nice bonus option to make her even tankier. Effect resistance can also be stacked to prevent some crowd controls and debuffs, but this stat is a lower priority for HuoHuo than other supports and healers, as she already has incredible access to universal cleanses on her skill and talent. When tackling endgame, as a guideline, shoot for these unbuffed stats: 6,000 or more HP, 900 or more defense, around 120 energy recharge, which is exactly as much as you'll get from an energy recharge rope, about 134 speed, or one of the highest speed breakpoints if you can manage it. As always, for relics and Lightcones, I've done some calculations to give you guys an idea of their difference in power, and we'll be referring to them right now. But feel free to find additional details on HuoHuo min-maxing linked in the description below. For HuoHuo's main set, here are my top recommendations: a combination of 2-piece Hackerspace and 2-piece Passerby, 4-piece Passerby, or 2-piece Longvis and 2-piece Passerby. 2-piece Hacker and 2-piece Passerby is the most balanced set combo for HuoHuo, providing a healing boost but also a speed bonus, allowing HuoHuo to more easily reach higher speed breakpoints, and is my top recommendation for high-end performance. 4-piece Passerby grants a healing boost and an extra skill point at the start of battle, taking pressure off the opening turns of HuoHuo teams, which normally have to make tough decisions on where to use skill points. If you're struggling with skill points, I recommend this set above all others. 2-piece Longvis and 2-piece Passerby generates the highest healing numbers of any set combo, but lacks the utility and speed of other set combinations, meaning it actually can fall behind in long drawn out fights where speed will give you extra actions. 4-piece Hackerspace actually works on HuoHuo and provides a small speed boost to her ultimate for 1 turn for the entire team. Using this set will come at a cost though of losing some healing stats. For those looking to min-max speed, it could be worth it, but it's definitely not something I recommend personally. Finally, 4-piece Musketeer can be used as a generic last resort for the 4-piece speed bonus, but doesn't offer much else for HuoHuo, making it only suitable as a last option. For planar sets, I recommend Fleet of the Ageless, Broken Keel, or Penakini Land of Dreams. Fleet of the Ageless is the best all-round set for HuoHuo. It grants a decent healing boost thanks to the HP bonus, as well as its attack boost team buffing effect. It will fall behind other specialized sets under certain circumstances though. Broken Keel is a good alternative to Fleet of the Ageless for crit-based damage dealers. The set bonus is also easy to activate as HuoHuo gains effect resistance traces. The new set Penacony Land of Dreams provides energy recharge which smooths out HuoHuo's rotation on top of a big damage boost to allies of the same element, allowing it to compete as a supportive option with Broken Keel and Fleet of the Ageless, but only for that element. It's actually the most powerful option when supporting wind DPS for HuoHuo. For her main stats, use the following. On the body armor, get healing output, but if you can't get that, you can use HP percentage. For the boots, grab speed, but if you don't have that yet, you can use HP percentage, or if you're going for a lower speed breakpoint. For the planar sphere, use HP percentage, and for the rope, use energy recharge. For substats, speed and HP percentage both directly improve HuoHuo's kit performance, providing her with more healing, ultimates, and in most cases, skill point generation. Acquire as many of these stats as possible. Effect resistance and defense percentage are a good secondary option, but neither are required even for the hardest content in the game. When choosing HuoHuo's best Lightcone, we're looking for 3 things: healing boosts, supportive effects, and energy recharge for herself. Here are a selection of her top Lightcone options and how they stack up against each other. Her signature, Knight of Fright, is a good all-round option, providing good healing boosts, energy recharge, and an okay damage boosting effect for the team. The signature also has a specialized healing effect that heals the lowest ally on the team every time an ultimate is used. But overall, this Lightcone should not be considered essential, as some others even beat it out in some situations. Time Waits for No One provides an insane amount of healing, beating out most other Lightcone options, but offers nothing in the way of energy recharge or supportive effects, making it a little bit less desirable overall. Post-op compensation at Superposition 5 grants insane energy recharge, more so than any other Lightcone, giving you the highest chance of achieving the occasional 3-action rotation, but has no bonuses to healing or supportive effects, making it more of a niche option. Shared Feeling has a decent healing boost, alleviates HuoHuo's energy troubles, and also offers an insane team supportive effect. Every time HuoHuo uses her skill, she grants herself and the rest of her team a small amount of energy. This on top of her ultimate can allow some characters to hit certain energy breakpoints that wouldn't be possible without this Lightcone. This is my top recommendation if you have it at a higher superimposition level. Quid Pro Quo is the strongest supportive Lightcone you could run on HuoHuo in theory. It grants a huge amount of energy to a random ally, excluding HuoHuo, but has no healing boost or energy recharge for HuoHuo herself. Despite its downsides, it's an excellent choice, as it's free to play accessible and can be acquired at S5 without spending. Both Hey Over Here and Perfect Timing grant HuoHuo incredibly competitive healing boosts, which rival Time Waits for No One. But similar to that Lightcone, don't have any supportive effects or energy recharge, making them just okay as options. To round things out, here is a summary chart of each Lightcone's strengths and weaknesses. Overall, I recommend the signature or a high superimposition Shared Feeling to take full advantage of HuoHuo's kit and ensure she plays smoothly with supporting effects. For free to play, if you're comfortable with your energy regeneration, Quid Pro Quo would be my go-to option, providing a ton of boosts to the team. HuoHuo absolutely doesn't need her Eidolons in order to do her job, but her E1 is particularly noteworthy. This is one of the most impactful Eidolons seen so far on a character and increases her value substantially. For those looking to invest past E0, I recommend her E1 above pulling for her signature personally. HuoHuo's E1 extends the duration of her sacrifice life talent by 1 turn, meaning she now has permanent uptime even during the skill point positive rotation, mending the blind spot in her healing and giving her the tiny bit of energy she's missing to ensure the ultimate is ready 100% of the time. It also increases the entire team's speed by 12%, which is roughly equivalent to granting the whole team half a pair of speed boots. As a sustaining character capable of providing buffs and energy, HuoHuo can be played in literally any team as a solid sustain, as long as you can make the skill points work. Of course, she does have some strong synergies though, so let's cover those. Thanks to HuoHuo's energy recharge, she is able to grant other buffing characters like Tingyun and Bronya their ultimates far faster, which is incredibly impactful. HuoHuo grants Tingyun faster access to her ultimate, allowing her to use it on your damage dealer of choice way more often. This combo creates a miniature energy chain, accelerating Tinyun's normal rotation and granting a double energy boost to your damage dealer, one from HuoHuo and one from Tinyun, resulting in a huge energy surge. Bronya rarely has 100% ultimate uptime. Combining HuoHuo with her allows more frequent ults, increasing the total number of burst windows your carry will have in a fight. Combining Bronya and HuoHuo can be skill point intensive though, so careful planning is advised. The main notable debuffer synergy is with Welt, whose ultimate is one of the strongest controlling mechanics in the game, thanks to Imprison, which becomes stronger and stronger the more frequently you cast it. HuoHuo grants increased access to Welt's ultimate, and when played just right, in the right team, can lock out an enemy for multiple turns in a row. As mentioned, HuoHuo can be played alongside any damaging character effectively, but here are a few particularly synergistic ones to look out for, namely Kafka, Topaz, Jinglu, and Seele. HuoHuo's ultimate grants a massive attack percent boost to the whole team, which benefits Kafka and her teams greatly. Kafka is also almost always played alongside another damage dealer, meaning HuoHuo is buffing 2 damage dealers instead of 1, and providing them both with energy as well. This is particularly nice as Kafka teams didn't have an ideal offensive partner before HuoHuo in the sustaining slot. Topaz's ultimate is expensive, but regenerates a good chunk of energy after use. This means Topaz gains more energy from HuoHuo's ultimate than usual, but has a low total ultimate cost thanks to her own regeneration, creating much faster ultimate access with HuoHuo. Topaz's teams are also mostly made up of 2 damage dealers, who can take advantage of HuoHuo's ultimate boosts, and Topaz can be played skill point positive, giving HuoHuo the option to mix up her own rotation for even more potential energy. Jinglu deals all her damage while in the transmigration state, which can be extended by her ultimate. Her ultimate has an incredibly high energy cost of 130 though to balance this out. HuoHuo can break this balance by providing her additional energy to extend her state, and when combined with Tinyun, she can extend it far longer than usual, enabling her full burst window for an incredibly long duration. Finally, Seele can extend all buff durations using her Resurgence kill streak mechanic far longer than intended, and HuoHuo's ultimate attack percent boost only lasts 2 turns, meaning in most cases, it won't be active for the majority of damage dealers' rotations. HuoHuo's ultimate is just one more buff to stack on top of Seele to enable her to go even crazier during her burst windows. With some of the standout synergies covered, just remember HuoHuo can be played with almost anyone, assuming you can make the skill points of the team work. So literally all team comps are on the table. That's about all I have on HuoHuo for now. Hopefully you guys learned something new and enjoyed my guide. And until next time, cheers.